Gardner, joined on the front row by the Italians, the Gian Antonio. On your second row in the top 6, Roberts and rookie Iagura completing that way. Navarro and Nicolo Bullicor, they all move up in a warm-up crash this morning. Former Moto2 16th, a bit further down Lorenzo Baldassare took a tumble. 23rd, Tom Luthi, the wily old campaigner there, the Swiss rider, 25th ahead of Montella and Sai. Harder, he's in for the injured Barry Baltas on the NTS chassis. Let's see what he can do.
From the exit of turn 1 here, it can happen in Moto2, but it's time for action. Who will be oh, sorry, I thought the mic came on then from Simon. Excellent job 2 weeks ago to come through from the third row of the grid to win.
Such a cool head, a mature head like Raul Fernandez. He'll have his work cut out though, trying to get ahead of his teammate Remy Gardner. And a 4-point lead in the World Championship, 4 between Gardner and Fernandez. Sam Lowe, 4th round. And what can Fabio the Gian Antonio do? Can he repeat his emotional heroics of the opening night? Rosini with a fantastic charge through to the podium. There is the championship picture going into round 4. Gardner lead 2 points then back to Sam Lowe's, and Marco Bezzecchi with a bit of early ground to recover. Bezzecchi's look changed in both Doha battles and also in Portimao last time out when he looked like he built up quite a comfortable...
Yeah, Portugal was so odd, wasn't it? The race really turned on its head about 3/4 of the way through. Will we be hearing the Australian national anthem in about half an hour's time? Goes up onto the second row, and there is Sam Lowe's number 22. He'll be hoping for action in Moto2 here in the Red Bull Grand Prix of Spain. There's a problem further back for Somkiat Chantra. Well, the Gian Antonio and Raul Fernandez also coming through into turn 1. It will be Didier who takes the lead.
Judge where his starting position was. The Gian Antonio, though, that leads going into the second corner. He made the dream third.
Yeah, Sam Lowe's is then up into... sorry, it's Augusto Fernandez. I saw the elf, Mark V. Raul Fernandez and Xavi Vieque ahead of Sam Lowe's and Joe Roberts.
Yeah, not the ideal start at all for 2 Grand Prix, and he's got a bit of work to do here.
Oh,
somebody's coming from way back. Somebody tagged the back of Sam Lowe's there.
Bezzecchi there. I don't know what happened. We'll have to see a replay. That was so much going on into turn 6, but he went straight on and to third. Raul Fernandez into 4th.
Ramirez riding like a man possessed at the moment. I'm sure it was him that came.
Marcos Ramirez here this weekend. He's wearing his proud lime green, the colours of Andalusia, of course. It's very much his home ground.
Very tight indeed. It was a tight line that Lowe's had to run as it just compromised his exit speed. Looks like it
into turn 1 we go. Lowe's there, side by side, it looks like, with Marco Bezzecchi.
A little bit later on than this, he's getting his nose blooded somewhat at the moment, is the Italian. No dramas for the other Italian who started. He's almost half a second clear of Poleman Gardner.
A Grassini rider hasn't won in Moto, who's MotoGP bound, it seems, in 2022.
Yeah, looks like he's going to be part of the still up for discussion and debate. Will Grassini go with Aprilia and stay with that associate? Rossi will run a fully fledged 2-rider factory team in MotoGP next season, so quite a lot to be decided in terms of the right.
Fernandez on Fernandez in the battle for third there. Number 37, Augusto. Now as he tries to make a move through. Will he do it into turn 13? No.
Yeah, Sam Lowe's has got quite a bit of an early recovery job.
The slipstream, surely he'll pull the pin now and move up into third. He does into turn 1. Oh, and he sits a goal
from the younger of the pair, the most inexperienced in Moto2. The Gian Antonio's got his head down and got some really comfortably the fastest man on circuit. Couple of tenths quicker than Gardner and Augusto Fernandez, who
in a 41.524, and already there you can see 7 tenths he's got now on Remy Gardner.
He's got time, he's got ample time, 21 laps to go, but with the pace that the Gian Antonio's running...
his head, is he going to get back on his feet?
Oh, yeah, with the greatest respect to Sam Lowe's, I just thought actually, look than him, and it's Augusto Fernandez, who's really good recent performances. He was looking for a third. His wretched form continues. Buliger hobbles away.
Turn 6, yeah, he just couldn't hold on there. That's just breaking himself. Buliger, and unfortunately the front end giving way.
That's just, well, Nicolo Buliger now, it means he's hot. Yeah, and Lowe's now knows he hasn't got to contend with trying to find a way through on his teammate Fernandez, who's already down, so Tamayo bikes ahead of him.
There's Remy Gardner, Akia's rider. both of his riders. Still out front though, De Gianantonio builds his lead, he's up to 8/10 clear now.
Into this Moto2 World Championship, the Japanese rider on course for yet another top 10.
On board here with the riders that lead, of course, the championship. He'll have his eyes firmly fixed on these two.
But when the grip went away, particularly in that rear Dunlop tyre, to have something that just allowed him, once he got to the front, he was able to streak away at life as he starts to come under a bit more threat from Sam Lowes in fourth.
Well, what we do know about Sam Lowes here so far, when he's got into his rhythm, no one's been able to touch him. As we go across the line there, grid has crashed now at turn 11, the Thai rider.
That's a fast old crash.
He's
that
holding his
doesn't look
right
good, does it?
Yeah, barrel rolling.
Yeah, bike and rider go tumbling quite a lot.
The Mitsu Honda teenager rider.
Credit here to De Gianantonio, Steve. First time now he's eked his advantage out to over and quite got this kind of early speed that the Italian possesses.
No, but Gardner's and Antonio to maintain this pace the whole way through.
Yeah, and of course to run this pace, Steve, I mean, how
most, because he fell back a long way after going straight on at turn 6 on the opening lap.
Here in Jerez, but not during the Grand Prix, thankfully. It was post-race, wasn't it, when he tangled with his teammate Luca Marini.
In terms of the races, things just sort of settling at the moment, and then it all sort of goes a bit mad later.
See there in the background, Jerez is holding off the charge of Agura, and it's a hard charge as well coming in, and then see if he's got the pace to maybe get in touch with that quartet ahead of him, the likes of Gardner.
And about how quick Agura is. He's doing a brilliant job.
Well, let's not forget as well, Agura's fourth, and he's not looking like a man who's well over 90 races lesser exposed.
Ramirez connects 10th, and it's Schrotter, Bobier and Navarro, and that is Hector 16th place when he went down. But it's been a rough old start to 2021, unfortunately, for this
year. The front end going for him in the Pedrosa corner. Similar crash to what happened to Buliger and Fernandez earlier in the Grand Prix. He's badly overdue a decent result.
Thought he might be onto something in Portugal with a top 3 in a couple of weeks' time. Across the line, fastest lap personally for De Gianantonio.
He did a 41.6. Remy Gardner was back in the 42s on that.
Rear end slide there for Sam Lowes. That will give an onto the back straight.
I really don't want to put the mockers on Fabio De Gianantonio, but last year there were some
times before, and I'm sure that'll be on his mind as well. Fabio De Gianantonio at the moment he's got a 1.7 second lead over Remy Gardner. We're on board here with Raul Fernandez.
Lowes and Bezzecchi behind Gardner have perhaps got that slightly better speed to try. Quite clearly at the moment he's not got the pace to go with De Gianantonio ahead of him.
It's like there's a bit of lunge into turn 13.
So De Gianantonio is going to come over the line to start. Beautifully done. Textbook move that up the hill into the first corner.
Sam Lowes wanted to try and get back on the cut.
Yeah, those two have had a fair amount of battle royales in the past, haven't they? Bezzecchi and Sam. Distance, and nobody's got anything for him right now at this stage of the race.
No, he's the only rider. Well, him and Bezzecchi on 6. That's as you were.
That's a significant gap he's been able to pull, isn't it? When you look at on both than Remy Gardner. So it's not even close. It's not like he's just stretching out a 10th.
There's only 7 laps gone. There's a lot of race left here as Gardner then drops back.
Wide open at turn 10 it was, and he got it slammed shut in his face, and in turn he loses a place up this
fast place to be overtaking. So can Raul Fernandez then, now having got past his teammate Fabio De Gianantonio.
Yeah, and again, Steve, De Gianantonio, another 41.6. That's about 3 in a row. First corner, second time he's made that move. He gets great drive coming out of turn 13 with a bit of slipstream. Got into the first corner.
Oh, around turn 4 there, again sliding Sam Lowes. And 5 we go. Let's get through the next sector and find out whether or not Raul Fernandez is just cut.
Put a bit of daylight though already between himself and Gardner in third. That gap's already got up to about 3:10. He's got the better edge grip on the left side there coming through turn number 7, and Gardner's out a little bit wide coming through, aiming up the little bit better through the fast corners.
A lot less breeze, in fact hardly any.
A very accomplished performance right now by Fabio De Gianantonio. He's just doing mid-41s for this quartet behind him on that last lap again. We're still in the 42s. Will it change this time around? Now Fernandez has got that cleared. First time in a long time, De Gianantonio is not the quickest man around this Jerez circuit.
It's a matter of time now before the Italian surely tries to pick off Gardner, who in the opening stage. Fabio De Gianantonio would be...
This is a factor, but it may well be. It was certainly a factor in the past, as Bezzecchi now fires up the inside of Gardner. If you get past, make the move straight back, take it back. Remy Gardner has had problems with his natural physics, and when you look at Fernandez ahead of him, much shorter and much lighter. I'm not saying that is a factor, but it's...
Sam Lowes has just dropped a couple of tenths actually on Gardner and Bezzecchi as well. So he's Xavi Vierge in sixth, who's still just about ahead of Ayagura.
Ayagura must be sick of the sights of Vierge. He's got Canet for company. Ramirez still in the top 10. Cameron Bobier doing another good job there. He's in 12th spot.
I mean, his form has just dropped off a cliff, hasn't it? The Boscoscuro chassis was on the
good rhythm here. He was doing 42 2s, 42 3s for a couple laps. Now he and Gianantonio in this comfortable lead of over 2 seconds. You know, Finati touched upon this, Steve, in Moto2. I mean, a little bit. I wonder if that was the case with Gardner, maybe.
Bezzecchi has gone through on Remy Gardner. Yeah, that could be the case.
Struggling to run the pace here at the moment, isn't he?
Let's watch a replay of the start of this race then. Up to Gianantonio to take the lead of the race.
And that was really the last time anybody saw him.
Yeah. Lows at 1:41.9. Struggling to stay in the 41s. Hey, this yet. But Sam on the opening couple of laps had to work very, very hard just to get himself into
21.6s. The Gianantonio has done. Incredible speed and consistency to match it at a time to the Gianantonio, although he's mighty, mighty close. And again, it's Gardner after a couple of the 42s once again, and now dropping back into the clutches of Sam Lowes.
You know, in Moto much what he's doing here, Moto2 is such a difficult class. And championship leader going into Le Mans.
Yeah, he would be.
There's which a couple would be of incredible.
Gardner again spinning up that Dunlop tyre through turn number 8. That pretty much since the get-go, and still Vierge resisting Agura.
Something pretty special in the next few GPs if he's to hold on to that ride in the Petronas Sprinter team. Silly season as teams.
He's been in Dynavolt Intact. He's been in Mark Vidius Racing, teams that have got proven in there, and Petronas Sprinter Racing. Albert Arenas.
It's not been a pretty weekend here. No, the race turn 8, that's not his first crash of the weekend, unfortunately.
Do you remember it was last year where he had that monumental crash at turn 11?
Still 2.5 seconds the lead here as we reach the halfway point of this Moto2 race. The Gianantonio well on top, into turn 6.
I'd wager that's probably double figures now in terms of lap times in
forms like that, consistently not putting a foot wrong, and that's the reason why he's building on his lead out front at the moment. Simon standing toe-to-toe, fighting it out for 4th place. Gardner here just up Raul Fernandez.
Yeah, we're only just over half race distance. There's a long way to go here for Gardner.
The live championship, there'd be 20 points between 4 riders.
Yeah, it was Sam Lowes, I think, 0-2, and right now you've got to say it's going to have to take a late disaster, really. Yeah, but you've just got to admire the man's consistency. There's no deviation in lap times at all. Just
if you're listening to us in the IPF truck, guys, we'd love to see a lap tally. I actually think it's not the first time he's actually done a 1:41.647. I think that's the second time.
Really giving up the ghost here. He's still doing high 41s. He has to, because he's got Bezzecchi breathing all the way down his league of his own. Pure brilliance by Fabio De Gianantonio.
Able to get close to him since.
Well, anything but a 41.6 now would be a disaster for Fabio. Got that 2.5 second lead over Raul Fernandez, which is a very nice, comfortable. Terrible, absolutely shocking, abysmal 1:41.773.
Slightly on that last lap, it was a 41.5 from both Fernandez and Bezzecchi.
At the earliest opportunity. They've got 3 riders here this weekend. Baldassari, Corsi back in action. We've had it. Do you know what? They've all been big.
Jack Miller mentioned yesterday about the size of the gravel.
Baldassari and Corsi in action this weekend, and I'm not being funny. The spare parts guy, Envy Agusa, needs a holiday.
Physically, the bikes certainly aren't. They're battered and bruised. They're going to need the week off before France.
They can't run 3. All 3 riders are perfectly A-OK, because that was a fast crash for Corsi going into turn number 11. 3 Grand Prix with a broken wrist.
Further back, there's not much change through the order. In 15th place ahead of Ben Snyder and Dalla Porta.
Another high 141 then.
Yeah, and Gardner has just started to warm up ever so slightly. Is it too little too late for the Aussie or him and his Mark VDS machine?
Yeah, we said what a tough task it might be for Gardner to hold Lowe's at bay. Of course, it's an even
first time. Now, is there going to be some late pressure? There is no doubt about it, Matt, despite the brilliance of Fabio Di Gianantonio, given when he looks at that pit board and he sees the gap coming down. At the moment, it's fine. Anything above a second. No.
She wasn't he when it all went horribly wrong. Fingers crossed for him and the Grazzini team after all they've been through so far. The pressure's coming though from the rookie sensation Raul Fernandez.
So Fernandez there with Bezzecchi hot on his tail. Bezzecchi at the moment looks well set for his first podium.
Easily managed that to the end of the race. If it starts coming under 2 seconds, right now this is just a test of his. He's been able to be fast and consistent, and yet again now he's sort of locked into the 41.9s under 2 seconds.
7 laps to go, and Iagura still can't find a way through on Xavi Vierge. The fight for second and third.
And at the moment, you've got to say Lowe's is running out of steam here in this podium. He was the quickest of the top 5 men. No, not quite, but
there's no overtaking going on up ahead to slow the pace down. It's not going to be quick enough to try and fight.
And like you said, Steve, same Dunlop tyres, same electronics. It's very, very hard to make up the difference, isn't it?
10. Now coming up to the fast turn 11, bit of a wheelie.
Did a very good second and third sectors on at the start of this lap, and he's found 3/10ths already in sectors 2 and 3, just to
strap had come down. We're looking here at Bezzecchi challenging Raul Fernandez. They're side by side, and he does go through. Nice stuff.
6, I believe, sir.
Yes.
Another one. Yes. Gardner's just said his fastest lap of the race. He still fancies a podium to mark his century of Grand Prix appearances, and this has been a good ride actually by Bezzecchi.
Twitch on the front end there for Raul Fernandez. That's what
running wide.
Bezzecchi the chance to get it down in the dumps the first few GPs. The gap now 2.7 seconds out.
Valentino Rossi is unveiling plans for a 2-rider MotoGP team. Marco Bezzecchi will have appetite for destruction. He's got an appetite for some Prosecco right now, hasn't he?
Remy Gardner's at the moment, we're just about hold on to a championship lead by 1 point as they're
pulling away. Now the advantage is the biggest it's ever been in this Grand Prix. 2.8 seconds it was through. It's down to 2.5, so Bezzecchi really strong in that 4th sector on that previous lap.
It's not put a foot wrong.
Such a likeable, popular character, isn't he? Full of very difficult start to 2021 with a sad loss of Fausto Grazzini, complications from COVID. Sure.
Yeah, and if he is to set foot or wrap his leg around a brand new Aprilia RSG.
Fernandez trying to hunt down that gap to the Gianantonio. Looked in. Fernandez right now struggling. As you'd expect, you know, it's easy to end of race scenarios in Moto2. So these kind of little blips, they are going to. Remy Gardner knows as well, Steve, the World Championship leads up for grabs here.
Here he comes, up the inside into turn 13. No, this is all about the championship. All 3 of those guys know it as well.
Priceless and precious championship points up for grabs here,
with a second place as well. It's not a huge surprise to see 4 of the 5 fighting here. We expected to see them. Raul,
my hands up, given how strong we saw Lowe's, Gardner and Bezzecchi in the winter, and on Fabio Di Gianantonio having a couple of podiums in the first 4, including a runaway start to
opportunities, and he's blown them. But hey, I hope we're not putting the cars.
Gardner's got him way too hot. A bit like what Gardner did to Joe Roberts for the podium at the last corner, or the last couple of corners in Portimao last time out. If he made the mistake, and sadly he did, so the hard work to do all over again for Remy Gardner.
My, this A5 splitting the top 3 as things stand.
That would be awesome. That's how we like it, going in top on our 2021 schedule.
Fabio Di Gianantonio is about to cross the line and is just 5 seconds clear. Yet another 41.7 for him. Incomplete. His to lose now.
Oh, Fernandez is getting really twitchy and nervous as he came through turn rear.
Sam Lowe's trying to get himself back on the podium.
Would have been lighting up inside that helmet when he saw those 2 moments at turn 2 for Fernandez. There's still a long way to go. It's turn 6 on lap 21, and it's number 22 who's trying to find a way through onto the podium.
Now with Sam Lowe's, as we eye the hunt and the battle for the final podium space. 2.8 seconds clear out front now is Di Gianantonio, who's just got 2 and a bit laps left.
Just doing.
Yeah, is Sam close enough? Not right now, to have a look into turn 13. Him as well, to try and fight from fifth. We saw how aggressive he's happy to be on the final lap last time out.
The guy is normally so silky smooth and clean that his bike's never out of shape, never out of line, so it's quite easy.
Want to look at Sam Lowe's, because all of a sudden Remy Gardner's gone from fifth to thinking he might be on for third.
This could be pretty interesting in the last couple of laps. You've got to think that for
Himself up here for a lunge at turn 13. He wasn't close enough to Sam Lowe's there.
that Fernandez can do here. He is now starting to look like a bit of a passenger on top of that Calex chassis, because
Remy Gardner as well. Doesn't look like he's got an awful lot of tyre left in him. He's just desperate to try it now.
Yeah, now then, Sam Lowe's. The gap to Bezzecchi, well, at one point surrender a podium here after his exit early on in Portugal.
Weeks a second. Sam Lowe's is currently in third. Remy Gardner 4 tenths away from the podium.
Look at Raul Fernandez on the last lap. Yes, okay, he's a long way clear of Xavi Vierge. Burnt out those tyres. That's all down to experience, nothing more.
It has been
coming down the back straight, just lighting up that rear tyre. Looks like he's got a...
I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, probably, actually, if Sam Lowe's looking at this, all this but spots a maybe.
Tribute to Fausto Grassini just by being on the podium, but we've not seen anything like this from the Italian. It's been an outstanding
game here today, is that
Sam Lowe's actually a fair effort here. He's really closed up to the tail of Marco Bezzecchi.
Looks like it's going to be fourth place for him.
Fabio Di Gianantonio, please don't do that. He's celebrating early. Now, we've seen this a few times. Fabio Di Gianantonio, outstanding win. His first in Moto2, and it's an Italian 121. Sam Lowe's returns to the podium in third, ahead of Remy Gardner and Raul Fernandez. But
Bobier's gone down on the very last lap. He was fighting for the top 10. What a job. The tears will start flowing again. That was an absolutely faultless and flawless performance by Fabio. Turn 9 on the very last lap when there was a top 10 beckoning. Some really strong rides in that race. Marco Bezzecchi front on the last lap, a well-worn front Dunlop tyre, just couldn't take it anymore.
Hafiz Siren might be going to get his bike started again.
Well, that's the only mistake he's made.
That's the championship. Gardner somehow holds on to the...
That was the last time anybody really saw him. His advantage at one stage was as high as 2.8 seconds. I say a troubled start to the year, but perhaps lower than expectation start. Lowe's does take third place quite comfortably into a podium, but Gardner will go to France as the World Championship leader. Fernandez just hit of it. When you see his pace late on, it was amazing actually that he was able to keep Gardner and Lowe's behind him for as long as what he did.
Ready for this young man. You can see the tribute to Fausto there on the back of his leathers as well.
What a his first in Moto2. Probably should have already had one in the bag, having some of the opportunities that he missed.